Hello everyone and welcome. Today I'm gonna talk about the topic of secondhand books, why I have started buying more and more secondhand books, where do I get them from, and what my experiences has been buying secondhand books, and a bit about selling books as well. So let's begin talking about why I have started buying more and more books secondhand. And the main reason for that is the price increase. Overall, I mean, for most products these days are more expensive, but especially for the society books, the price has increased a lot in the past years. So I do not buy that many new releases from the Full Society, as you've noticed, but I'm trying to get into the secondhand market more and more and buy my Full Society books from there, because there's a huge amount of books available secondhand that are great for great prices. So that's where I in the future will look more and more for my Full Society books, to be honest. But where do I get my secondhand books from? There are 4 places. eBay and eBay Books are the books I buy from outside of Sweden. I use those 2 sites. And within Sweden I buy from the Swedish online secondhand bookstore Bokbörsen, which is great. It has a lot of professional sellers, and the prices there are usually very, very good and generous. And also I've been using a bit of Tradera, which is where I sell my books myself. It doesn't have as many books on Tradera that are of interest to me compared to Bokbörsen, but the 2 places are great for buying books. And on Tradera I think Europeans can also buy books. It's not just from Sweden, so it's a great place to find hidden gems as well. I don't buy that many books from eBay and eBay Books due to the shipping costs that are usually quite high, depending on which country that are selling. But when I buy books from outside of Sweden, it's usually from eBay or from eBay Books. So those are the places where I get my books from. So what has been my experience buying books secondhand? Well, I can say it has been very good and sometimes not so good. Sometimes it feels like it's 50-50. Like when you find a book and you think, wow, this is a great price, I will. And the description of the condition says like it's a good condition, very fine condition, no issues. And then you get the book and it has like coffee stains on half of the pages. That has happened a few times. It's annoying. It's I don't know how it happened really. I guess some sellers either don't really care to look at the books, or they are just lying. I don't know. So I guess the big sellers that have thousands of books that they are selling, like antique stores and like that, I guess they don't have time to check every single book thoroughly, and sometimes a book slips through which is not in a good condition, but the seller is just writing it down in good condition. Then they're happy with that, and then they will get an angry message afterwards. But no, I generally, if I receive a book that is has a lot of stains for some reason, that wasn't featured in the description, I tend to just let it go. I might write a message, but I never ask for the money back, because I usually get the books for a very good price anyway, so I'm okay with that. But if the book is like in such a bad condition that it's impossible to read it, then I would probably ask for my money back. But that has never happened, so I'm happy with that. But I've also noticed that on pretty much 50% of the books I buy secondhand, the books have some sort of inscription or writing inside of it, and that's never covered in the description. I have never bought a book that had the description by the seller that the book had inscriptions of writing. And that's also a thing I think is a bit weird, because when I sell books myself, I always include if I have done any writing, note taking in the book, I make that as a heads up for the buyer that the book do have inscriptions. But I noticed that people just don't care about that when selling books online. And for me, that's fine, because I do really like seeing what other people have been taking notes of, and so that's fine. That's fine for me. It works, so I don't care about that. But it's those cases when you have like a heavily coffee stained book. Wait, I can show one of those example actually. Wait. So here is a book I bought, for a Fuller Society book, The Isle of Voices and Other Stories by Robert Louis Stevenson. The book in the description was saying like it's a fine condition, no issues at all. And then I got the book, and at first it looked very nice. It didn't have any inscriptions, and then I noticed that it was quite quite stained by I think it's tea or coffee, and those things happen quite a lot, I've noticed. And you have to really be careful with some sellers. Like for this example, this book wasn't that cheap as well. It wasn't the cheapest secondhand book I bought, so it was a bit of a bummer to get this sort of stain on a secondhand book. But usually when you find that sort of seller that is putting down a lot of care with the books, like the packaging, the way they have some sellers even put them in like cover them in paper and have bubble wrap and a lot of secure packaging, and they are very honest in the descriptions. Those are the sellers I really like finding, and I've found a few of those in Sweden. So it's when you find them, it's great. You will get a lot of fantastic books from them. So try to find sellers that sell books for a fair price, that are honest with the descriptions of those books, and that care about the books that they are selling, and not just are selling them bulk, taking one photo, not checking if the book is damaged in any way. Those are the sellers that you want to avoid. And when I sell books myself, I try to be very honest. I try to look through the book if I notice any faults with it. Sometimes you miss things, and that's fine. You can just contact the seller about it. And if it's a major fault, they can just give them money back or part of the money back. It's all about conversations when you're buying and selling secondhand, I've noticed. Building relationships with sellers and buyers is also a great thing, because if you find people that share the same passion about books, it's a lot of fun to build those relationships, and finding ways that both the buyer and the seller can benefit from these things. So that was all of what I wanted to say, I think. What have your experiences been with buying or selling books? Please tell me in the comments. But other than that, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.